Yeah. Every morning seems just the same old routine. Blowing trees, writing these bars, line after line, mining for a diamond, but a dime is what I find. Hiding from the truth by simply coasting through these hard times with green, even though I'm feeling blue. But I gotta face the facts, girl, you know that it's true. And maybe what I'm supposed to do is not to get so close to you. But these days the only things that seem great are fading away, and the only time I feel home is when I'm alone or far away. But the road call says the wind blows, 10 missed calls on my flip phone, so it stays closed. Staring out my window while my mind slowly goes off into my headphones, hoping that the dough will be worth it for the show, but who knows?
Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up, we laugh like kids all day, and there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change. No, we're never gonna change.
Man, day after day is just the same old thing. Working class life, and yes, it surely will bring a food to the table and a roof when it rains. But for the most part, you're just doing the same thing, a part of a machine with the ball and a chain. You try to be happy, yet all you feel is pain. It's a shame to use your brain and know that some will never change. But if insanity's the game, then you can take my hand and play. Life has a rhythm that I ride to, and you can come along if you would like to. And I can show you what it's like to walk in my shoes, to learn how to love just like I do. Look me in the eye and you will find truth. I'm testifying to the lying in my mic booth.
Well, all right. We are up and running. It is Sunday the 10th, and happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Holy cow.
Yeah, we are here. We are up and ready to have some fun. It is a good date. I don't know about you, but I've actually got some good weather where I'm at.
Did you were you able to call your mom today on Mother's Day?
Yes, I was. How about yourself?
That's awesome. I got to talk to them Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So I just sent my mom a text this morning when I got up at around 6 o'clock this morning.
Oh, nice.
Wish her a very happy Mother's Day.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm sure that made her very happy.
It was great. I mean, we've had some really good conversations this weekend. It was my birthday yesterday. So every year for as long as I can remember, since I've been away from the house,
yeah,
they call me on my birthday, and both my mom and my dad sing me happy birthday.
Well, that's nice.
For as I can't remember a year where they haven't called and sang me happy birthday. It's awesome. It's the best part of my birthday. And I'm not, I don't go out and I'm like, I'm going to celebrate my birthday. I kind of stopped doing that when I was, I don't know, probably 30 or so.
Yeah. Well,
there was all, when I was married and the kids were at home and stuff, there's always like, a birthday dinner for dad or a birthday dinner for mom, or, everybody got to pick their place to go out and eat on their birthday or something. I just haven't, I'm not that into it, man. It's just a number. This is not a senior moment thing, but I actually forgot how old I was this year. I had to do math.
So you had to do the math.
I had to do math. But it's good because I thought I was older, but I'm not. Actually, a year younger than I thought I was.
Well, that's a good
as
thing.
Old as I thought I was.
Koz is getting up there. That memory's fading.
Work with me here, man. Come on.
Hello, Branko. Good to see you. Hello, Wall. It's good to see you. It's good to see everybody. Come on in. You are all welcome here. It is great to see everyone in here. If you didn't, you should either, and I'm going to say this, either call your mom right now, pick that damn phone up, or call her afterwards.
Yeah, don't forget about mom.
Yeah, don't forget. Moms are important, okay? Very, very important. So you need to remember to acknowledge and say, "Hey, Mom, love you. Thank you for being there." Good smack on the whatever, and you were there for me. That's important because I'll tell you what.
Something as simple as, "Dear Mom, thanks for having unprotected sex."
Mm-hmm. There you go. Tell you what, I actually called my mother and let her know I loved her. I actually sent her flowers and
That was
excuse me.
awesome.
Huh?
That was pretty awesome.
Oh, with COVID going on, and where my mother is, she's kind of locked down, and she's a social person, so it's really hard for her not to get out and do stuff.
Was she in a penitentiary?
Kinda. No, she's not in jail. It's just she's in a assisted living facility apartments. So therefore, she takes care of herself, but there's someone around in case something goes wrong. Well, with the COVID, they said they actually made them sign a piece of paper acknowledging that they can, if they leave, they have to lock themselves in their room for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just there's a lot of and they're really putting down some good rules, and I can appreciate that, especially with all the people that are there. And I know my mom is not always doing so great, so I'm really happy that she's safe. But at the same time, tell you what, she's going buggy, and this is a woman who loves to be social. She actually broke down, and I had offered a couple weeks ago. I said, if you need it, just let me know, and I'll let you have my Netflix password. And she's like, no, I'm fine. And then she realizes there may not be football this year.
Was she a big football fan?
Nebraska, are you kidding me?
The Cornhuskers.
Damn straight. Go Big Red. So no, she broke down and said, okay, I need that. And so I'm sending her a stream machine for her TV, and then she has to get the person who is their tech person in the facility to come and set it up for her.
That's cool. That's cool. Looking out for mom. That's awesome. My parents are kind of, they're not in a facility or anything like that. They're at home, and it took a lot of convincing to keep them at home. They're up in Wisconsin, and Wisconsin hasn't had too many cases. They're doing really, really well.
Yeah.
But they like to kind of get out. They're very social, especially my mom. My dad likes to get out just to get out. He'll say, I'm going for a gallon of milk, and he'll be gone for 3 hours, and he'll hit like 5 or 6 different stores. And he'll come back with a gallon of milk, some 2x4s, a bunch of tools, and whatever.
Yeah.
So he does like to get out. He doesn't like to be cooped in the house.
Well, and my mom, she's the same way. I mean,
they like to read, but they've read all of the books that they have, and then they swapped books, and they each read each other's books, and they're done with that now. So my mom's like on Amazon ordering books.
Well,
just to be able to stay home. I've never seen somebody read so many books.
With my mom, she is just so social. I mean, normally she's got something going on 4 to 5 days a week where she has to go out and do something.
They're allowed to get out. I mean, they can go outside, go for walks, get some fresh air, some vitamin D, which I hear is a good fighter of the COVID. They said that they get a lot more sunlight are less apt to.
The more sunlight, that vitamin D, and we've talked about this before, helps keep depression away. It actually stimulates your body's immune system, and it actually helps you absorb the proper nutrients to supply your body to fight off things.
I saw there was a study, or it was an article about a study. They said anywhere north of the 38th parallel, 35th parallel. Which goes through like North Texas, of course Texas, and then like San Diego. I guess it goes just north of San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere north of there's people that have depression issues.
Yep.
It's all like you talked about. With the lack of vitamin D.
Exactly. Hello, Heath. Good to see you. With going out and walking is great, but again, they have flat out said anything other than minimal contact. In other words, you can't go shopping. You can't go to these places. If you go there, you are not allowed to leave your apartment for 2 weeks. And it's bad enough. I mean, right now she can go see her friends in the other apartments. But if she goes anywhere, she runs that risk of being told she has to stay in her apartment. And
That's
so
crazy. And I guess that's, if you're in an assisted living facility, you're going to be around people who are, of course, older.
Yep.
And more apt to be sick or more susceptible to being sick.
Yes.
Makes sense.
And so at this point, getting her Netflix, I said, Mom, you are going to love this. Because she's heard of Netflix. She doesn't really understand what it's about.
She needs to watch Breaking Bad.
Well, I told her you're going to be, because she's like, well, I have to. The problem is I have to watch shows according to how they come on TV schedule, and I'm not always up to wanting to watch them. And two, there's a lot of reruns. And I said, well, you know what, Mom?
Introduce her to the term binge watching.
I don't think I'm going to have to. I think once she realizes that she can just
figure it out.
Keep watching, she will.
There's another episode and there's no commercials. This is awesome.
And that's going to be the fun part, is to see her discover this.
Shows are much more enjoyable without commercials. I just wrapped up Ozark. I watched the 3rd season of Ozark. Man, what a fantastic series that is.
See, I'm watching... I'm still watching Person of Interest, and we're rewatching something that we'd never finished, and I forget what it is. But we're going between the two to kind of mix it up a little.
I don't do that. I'll start something and I have to finish it. I'm not going to pollute my mind with another plot line. I finished. It's like Breaking Bad. Then I went to Better Call Saul. And then, I was looking for something else to watch, and I got into Ozark. So I watched 2 seasons of that. Then the 3rd season came out. I watched it, and I love that. I love that show. That's a really well put together, very well acted series.
Yeah,
highly, highly, highly recommended. But I was sitting, and normally I only watch Netflix or whatever I'm watching. I only do it like when I'm eating or when I'm sitting down doing nothing, or I'll put on something stupid and it'll be background noise. Today I sat down and I'm like, let's watch Back to the Future. So I watched the first Back to the Future last night at dinner.
Yeah.
And then this afternoon I was sitting down cleaning my gun. So I threw on Back to the Future 2. And that was made in 1989, and they went all the way into the future to the year 2015. 2015, you had hoverboards, you had smart clothing.
Where is all this?
Not exactly. None of it is here now.
Oh man, it is fun sometimes to watch shows when they'll sit there and they'll get into sci-fi stuff where they try to get into the future, and you sit there and say, okay, this is what they thought we would have. And that's when you have to go, okay, now do we?
we had exactly none of it. I mean, flying cars, hoverboards, like not skateboards, but hoverboards. They had everybody. It was just silly. It was really silly. The way it was really, really forward thinking, I guess, to the way that they perceived the world. It was going to be, and everything was computerized and online, which I guess they kind of got close to.
Yeah.
But I think that it was like an 80-90% miss on that.
Well,
so it was so corny. I think I remember watching it when it came out, but I actually turned it off. It was just too corny. I do like Back to the Future 3. I'm going to watch Back to the Future 3 next.
Well, let me see. Michael says he now has HBO. And Wall says that she's spoiling her pet dog at this point just because.
I mean, why not?
Yeah, Michael says he's waiting for his phaser, damn it.
Well, I've seen the memes, and this is great because of this little quarantine thing. Cats or dogs are like, wow, you're taking time off of work to spend more time with me, and cats are like, hey, man, did you get fired?
You know, my only problem with this, and this is this is something I'm a little worried about, because I get this, okay? I check in with certain places. Right today we had to go get some cat litter. No big deal, right? Went to PetSmart. Normally they have cats and dogs to adopt. They have none whatsoever. I know at my my vet, they have a grooming place right beside it that's owned by the vet, and she also has an adoption center at her place, and they're completely out of cats and dogs.
I heard that there was a run on pet adoptions when this thing kicked off.
Yes, there was. Hello, Bailey. My problem with this is, okay, you've gone out and you got these animals. You've gotten them used to this routine of you being home. What's going to happen when all of a sudden you have to go back? Have you trained that dog or cat well enough to where they're not going to be a problem? And are you going to be capable? What is going to go on with that dog or cat? They're going to have this problem.
They might have a little bit of separation anxiety.
Exactly.
I mean, not cats. Cats want to get rid of you anyway. But dogs, I guess.
Believe it or not, cats
some kind of separation anxiety.
Believe it or not, cats go through separation anxiety too.
They're faking it.
No, they aren't. Trust me. One of my cats, when I leave the house, my wife, even though she's working, she will hear immediately. As soon as I leave the house and get in the car, one of my cats starts meowing and won't stop until she hears the car come back. Okay? That's how bad it gets. All animals have some form of anxiety. And yeah, Blair brought up something. Same applies to kids. People make during quarantine. You know, okay, no, I'm talking about, in other words, kids are going to have the same problem going when parents have to start back to work, because they've had this attention, they've had this bond, and all of a sudden, parents are going back to work.
It's like a 24/7 summer vacation where you can't go anywhere. Then all of a sudden, everybody's not at home, though.
No, and I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying the people. There's a whole bunch of people who went out and adopted cats and dogs. I mean, you can't. There are very few. There is an actual waiting list to get a cat or dog right now at some of the places. That's how much is going on.
You need a tiger.
Only you. Damn Carol. Damn Carol Baskin. And Bailey, no, I'm not too nice to my cat, thank you. I'm just right for her, and she's just right for me. But no, that's the interesting side that I think is going to come out is when people go back to work, the ones that have been staying home, like my wife, she's working, but at home. My cats are getting used to the fact when my wife goes downstairs early in the morning, she opens up her blinds right where her desk is, and they can see the birds and all this stuff. Now, do they really think that I'm going to do that when she goes back to work? Not going to happen.
It's a routine. I guess animals get used to a routine.
Yes, they do.
I mean, I've only had dogs. I can't do cats. But, I mean, all of my dogs, when I get up out of bed in the morning, the first thing is take them outside.
Yeah.
So they know when I'm crawling out of bed that it's time to go outside.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess those things will change.
And those animals that got that were adopted, what's going to happen to them is all of a sudden.
I hope there's not a big turnover of pets.
That's my worry.
Oh, that sucks.
is because all these animals all of a sudden are going to be left at home before they weren't.
See, when my daughter was living here, we had Oliver, the little itty bitty Yorkie, the pound and a half Yorkie. Coolest little dog ever, man. Awesome dog. and when she moved back up north, I'm like, man, I want a dog. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm not home a lot. It would be kind of super duper unfair to whatever animal I chose to adopt.
Yeah.
To have it, stay in a crate all day long, only for me to come home, late in the afternoon, and then get up and go to work the next day. That's no way for a dog to exist.
No, it isn't.
Not at my house. I mean, they need to be out and playing and having attention paid to them. So
and Blair says
today I'll end up getting a dog, but not today.
And Blair says, old kids are going to be relieved. Yeah, they are going to be relieved. And yes,
my youngest daughter is really looking forward to getting back into school. They pulled her out of school, or they canceled classes. She had like a month left of curriculum.
Michael's going, I adopted all the cats. I'm training them to be my unholy army of the night.
Well, there you go.
I love you guys. But that's my biggest worry, I think, though, is all these animals got adopted. What's going to happen when the people who adopted them start going to work, and they're going to be more busy? Are those animals going to take it well?
I tend to think this has been going on for roughly 60 days or so.
Mm-hmm.
Beginning of March, about 60 days. So, I mean, you want a pet, you're going to become attached to it.
Oh, yes.
I think it'll be extremely difficult to just go, I don't want you anymore. That's cruel.
I don't see that either, but at the same time, is that pet going to be okay? And that's, I talked to my vet, and I said, what do you think is going to happen when all those people go back to work? And she said, during the interview process, they actually put those questions to everybody. That's what it came down to, is they realized that also, and they said they made sure that they had an understanding of what they're getting into when they go back to work, and what the ones who took dogs, what they were going to have to train their dogs to. Because the dogs, they have to go out and to go potty. How long are you going to be gone to work? How are you going to train your dog to take that? Well, hello, Richard. And Bailey, no, I did not almost say master. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he actually said it. He didn't almost say it. He said it.
All right, fine.
Richard, we are. This is WTF Nation Radio. We're a veteran run radio program. We have shows. How many days? We have 4. Let's see. Mondays.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Right now, we used to have
Fridays.
5 days a week. Actually, we used to have 6 days a week, and we used to have an afternoon show.
We don't have shows Fridays.
We don't have shows Fridays right now.
Yeah.
Or Fridays, just Fridays, Saturdays, or Wednesdays.
Exactly. We're working on it.
We're all veterans, so it's usually veteran centric. We have a couple of shows that are news centric, whatever's on the main headlines. The Sunday show, Kicking It with Koz, is I try to stay off of what the main news is and just go with some of the sideshow news, stuff that's not really talked about. But we talk about everything.
Exactly. We talk about everything, and in the second hour when Koz decides he needs to eat, why, I don't know, I pick it up and talk about positive things, silly stuff, just because you don't hear about the fun stuff. You news out there, all you're hearing about is the horrible and the things that are going to pull on your heartstrings and make you feel like crap. And I don't. I try to find things that are funny, uplifting, and make you kind of laugh at things, because you need to. Oh, we got someone from Germany. Hello from Germany. Good to see you. So, we're kind of all over the place, and we just have fun. And I think that's what Kicking It with Koz is about. And during the week, you'll hear other people's opinions. You've got the what is CQ?
What do you mean? What is he? He's a host on Tuesdays.
Yeah, I mean, as far as what's his show about, I forget. Give me half a second.
Oh, he's the
pop culture
put me on the
warrior.
spot. Now I'm going to say social justice warrior, but that's not right.
No, pop culture warrior.
Pop culture warrior.
He talks anything and everything pop culture, and he is also a comedian. He also brings in comedians. So
if you want to know anything about television shows, not cartoons, but video game stuff, anything Avengers or anything Marvel related, Avengers, just DC Comics related, that is the guy to talk to.
Yep. He knows it. And if he doesn't know it, he knows how to figure it out or who to talk to. So it ends up being fun, and the idea is to help people enjoy what's going on, give you some entertainment and some connection. Veterans are veterans. We want to be able to talk to someone who understands us. Richard, he said he did a birthday stream. I slipped, accidentally broke my cake on the show. You gotta have fun. You gotta laugh at yourself.
There's a lot of new streaming coming up. I mean, some of the like celebrities and whatnot are doing. Metallica did it. They did like a remake of Blackened. They're they're apart from each other, but the band got together, and I don't know if they did an editing or if they played live, but they played Blackened. Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20 has been online a lot doing stuff. He's online, I mean, at least a couple of times a day doing some kind of song.
Now, if you like Rob Thomas, I told you about iZombie. Their theme song is actually done by him, and he actually shows up in one of the episodes.
That's too awesome, man. He's just he's a good dude.
We talk, and we do try to talk about anything and everything just to have fun. When we do this, it's all about just whatever we can do. I'll even remind people, hey, don't forget about your vitamin D, because, well, if you're not getting sun, you need it. So anyway, your week has gone decently.
I don't know, man. I am convinced that women. Oh gosh, I'm going to step all over it now. Women have their monthly friend, Shark Week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm convinced that dudes go through the same thing, but it's more of like just a freaking mood change. I was just a bitter asshole all week. I just had a bad attitude. I don't know why. It's not something it's not a pattern.
Yeah.
Like the third week of every month, Koz is an asshole at work. It was just everything was pissing me off, man. And nothing was quite right, and I couldn't. I was upset with some of the contractors I've got working for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just not happy with their the quality of work that they were putting out, and I'm getting short with them, and I was a dick. I was a real dick, and that kind of cleared up. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was a dick. Thursday, I kind of took everybody's side on and apologized, and Friday morning I brought in donuts.
Aww.
I felt bad, man. I don't know why. Every once in a while, it's just I was just sour.
Well, we have the choice of either saying you're just becoming a grumpy old man.
I'm not a grumpy person. I'm usually the guy that's in a good mood. I love waking up in the morning. I mean, dude, if I didn't like going to work at 3:00 in the freaking morning or getting up at 3:00 in the morning to go to work,
yeah,
I wouldn't do it. I'd change my work schedule. But I love it. I love my job. I love what I do. But damn, I was a sour asshole this last week, and I felt bad about it.
Well, I can tell you, I've actually asked doctors about this, because when you're a bodybuilder and powerlifter, you actually are very honed into your moods, because when you're lifting, you notice when you're having fatigue or weak times, and doctors said that men do demonstrate a hormonal shift once every 4 to 6 weeks. And they said it's not anywhere near as severe as a woman, but that men do notice the shift, or they do have a shift in their mood, and it can be anywhere from 1 day to a week, and it can be every 4 to 6 weeks. And when I was lifting, when I was at my hardest, I actually could tell, because I could be doing great with lifting, and all of a sudden, my shift would come in, and I couldn't do as much weight. No matter, and I could be in a great mood, but I just didn't have that. And doctors have actually said that hormones do shift for men, just not like women. So that'll kind of back that up. But yeah, you're just becoming a grumpy old man. Who are you kidding? Well, welcome to old manness.
but I didn't I just didn't kick it. I didn't kick that can down the road. I realized, and I knew as soon as it started happening, like probably midday Monday. Mm-hmm. And I'm just, I'm like, damn, I just need to shut the fuck up. I need to go work by myself and just not interact with anybody. But
well, at least you're willing to admit that.
To actually realize what was happening, and I knew what to do. Mm-hmm. But it just, it was just like a snowball, man. It just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it just kind of went away. Felt bad. Fixed it with donuts.
Heath Barlow says they call it PMS because Mad Cow was already taken. Oh, Heath, Holly is going to hurt you. And so is Bailey. And probably Wall. A couple of there's enough women in here. They're going to get you.
I'm looking forward to this week. It's supposed to be a good week. We're supposed to get a lot of thunderstorms, which is good. I like thunderstorms.
You can keep those.
But it's a short week for me. So
okay, yeah, it's your short week.
I get a long weekend this coming weekend, so 4 days of work.
That'll be nice. With me, my wife realized, because they told her that she probably will not see going back to the office till June or July.
That's crazy, man. There's a lot of states that are reopening. Texas is one of them. Well, a lot of states are actually, they're phasing in, like non-essential work going back. Some states are just now getting to the curbside pickup.
Yeah.
Texas is really Governor Abbott. If you guys saw any of my posts here on the Koz Facebook page, I'm really, really happy with the way Governor Abbott and my Mayor Betsy Price have handled this.
Yeah.
And it's I was actually scheduled to get a haircut Friday, this past Friday, and I was super excited about it. Dude, I posted about it. I'm like, I've never been this excited to go and get a haircut before in my life. Uh-huh. So Thursday, they called me up and they're like, hey, can we reschedule you? Because they were like completely overbooked, and their online reservations didn't match the other reservation system that they had, so they just canceled everybody. And they're opening until Monday, so I've got an appointment Monday afternoon. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to reschedule, but I'm going to go ahead and look for getting a haircut from somebody else. If I get a haircut, I'll call you and I'll cancel and open up that slot for someone else. They said, no problem. Every place that I called, they're like, yes, we are open. I said, okay, what's the estimated wait time? And it was 160, 180 minutes.
Wow.
If I went to their online, where you get in the queue and then you just show up later, in 180-minute wait. 3 hour.
Wow. See, with us...
I'm like, I'll just wait till Monday. I'm not going to die if I don't get a haircut.
Well, with me, it's my wife is going back to... the state is opening up. We're in phase 1. But her company is being extra cautious, and they're actually moving in where their main office in Montana is going to move or start with 25% of staff, and then they're going to move over to Spokane and do the same thing. And because of me, she has asked to be put at the bottom of the list as far as when to come back, because she doesn't want to bring anything home to me.
Yeah, I'm waiting I mean, it's. I really think every state in the United States just open it up. Go back to normal. If you are, old, if you're sick, stay home.
I agree.
If you're susceptible to becoming sick, stay home. Give it a few weeks. Let this, just let this kind of pass by. I don't know if it's ever going to go away.
No, I don't either. At this point, though, I do think they need to go ahead and just say, everybody, open up. If you have problems, you have the right to tell your boss that you can't, and they can't hold it against you. But you have to be able to say, I have an immune system problem,
and you don't even have to tell them that.
Well, in other words, back it up.
ADA says that you don't have to disclose anything.
Well, but you have to be able to back it up. Otherwise, how many people are going to go, well, I don't want to, I'm not going to show up, and I'm just going to say because of medical. I think there should be some form of way of saying, okay, have a doctor sign off and say, this person needs to stay home a couple extra weeks just to make sure that the office, if anything's going to get caught, they're not going to be there during that time. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. But as far as everything else, I mean, we've at work, we actually, when this thing kicked off, we stopped visitors to the labs that I work in. We just recently let these folks start coming back. So we had some other contractors come and do some work for us at the Flight Research Center, and it's just it would normally be like a crew of 6. It was half of that. It was a crew of 3. They showed up, did their work, and then they left. They stayed to themselves, escorted everywhere they went. So it was like they weren't really allowed to do anything. They were allowed to come onto the property, do their work, and then leave. So it's my company's taking precautions. We got our temperature taken, and we have a verbal "I am in good health" type of thing in the morning. Mm-hmm. Got to walk through an area before you even get to the gate to get onto the property. So, and if your temperature is over 100.4, you're not allowed to go to work.
Well, at least their places are trying. Like I said, I really think they just need to open it up. I want to go camping, and they're telling me there's a chance I may not even be able to go camping next month, which I think is ridiculous. Because campers naturally are social distancing.
Do you are all your campgrounds on state property though?
No.
So can you go to a privately run campground like a KOA or?
You can go, but the problem is stuff like that is still, because even though it may be privately owned, it still falls under the shutdown orders. In other words, just because you're privately owned, it's kind of like your salons.
This is the inner E4 in me, trying to find a way around shit.
And there isn't, because look at the fact that salons, your barbers, all those places had to shut down, even though they're privately owned.
But you're in eastern Washington. What's to keep you from driving an hour or so into Montana, which has a lot of the restrictions lifted?
Nothing.
There you go. Go camping in Montana.
Well, it's not as easy as that.
How bad do you want it, man?
I want it, but I'm not going to drive my diesel-sucking motorhome 100 miles over 2 passes.
Okay. I can go right into where's Missoula?
Missoula is about 150 miles.
Not bad. Do that in a few hours.
Yeah, 2 passes.
Is it 2 passes?
It
Okay,
is
I thought
2
was just one.
passes. It is 2 passes, and that will just kill my fuel economy even worse.
Way to break in the engine.
Besides, I don't know any of the names of the places, and I'd have to look them up. And my guess is people are probably flocking to those places at this point.
University of Montana's there. You can probably find some good stuff there.
No, I mean, again, it's every state's going to do what they're going to do, and we have to deal with the idiosyncrasies of our governors. Just remember this come election time. That's all I can say. When it time, when
ICE talks about it a lot. Like leaders, army, military leaders.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, the big army gives you an edict, and then your local leaders, your local leadership structure is like, finagling their way around it, and then making up their own rules, and having change of responsibility ceremonies, and having the Joes get in their uniforms and stand on the balconies and shit, or still giving PT tests.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. We don't know at this point. What they're doing is what they're doing. With what I wanted, because it's military, because it's federal, they make us go by the state. And the state, Inslee, forced the base and anything to do with any of the bases in Washington State. He basically said, unless it has an activity with the base, it's to be closed down. Well, I want to vote a few people out also.
I mean, yeah, all of the work that we do on military bases, and there's a lot of it, has been postponed until further notice.
Like I said, where I go to, the campgrounds, they're allowing them to rent out kayaks, and they're allowed to rent out the boats. They're allowed to go on the beaches. They're allowed to go fishing. But they're not allowing any tenting or RVs at all.
So it's basically enjoy our parks, have a good time, but when the sun goes down, you have to get out.
Yes. And that supposedly that gives the workers time to clean or wipe down anything that's been used.
I have noticed there's been a lot of cleaning going on. Like I go to Walmart once a week.
Yeah.
I get gas every 2 weeks. And, there's people, there's quite a few. There's one person, counting the people that come in and out. There's another group of people that are out there getting, all the carts and stuff that are in the little corrals. But then they go to another area where everything gets hosed down, man. They're really doing a good job.
Oh, yeah. Even at the commissary on base, they have one person assigned to carts that when the carts come in from outside, they spray them down before they're allowed to be put back into the line. They're really keeping that stuff up, and I can appreciate that. They're trying their best.
So I was going to take the leap and get a face covering, and I can get these things from work.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up buying. It's kind of like a very lightweight neck gaiter. And I was going to keep one for myself and then give the other 4 to my kids and say, here's for you. I got what I need. Here's the rest is for you.
Mm-hmm.
So after I bought them, I got this, thank you for your purchase email. And then I didn't get a shipping email. So I went back and looked at my order, and there's like these little words at the end of it. And it says, because of the COVID-19 thing, or due to COVID-19 protocols, your shipment may be delayed up to 30 days.
Oh, my.
I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm going to need it maybe, and I might not need it in 30 days.
Well, my wife, she ordered some stuff, some masks, and she actually got them within a couple days through Amazon. I was surprised.
They do have them on Amazon. It's just it was a veteran company, so I wanted to support the veteran company.
Yeah.
And then I got that, I found that information after I had already purchased these things. Yeah, and I've been using the shit out of some Amazon. I got some new sneakers today in the mail. Got some filters for my my coffee maker, water filters for my coffee maker.
You sound like me. My wife and I have been using Amazon pretty heavily too. My wife or we got my wife or I got my wife my mom a Roku, and then my wife's been ordering all her stuff that normally we'd get when we go out to the base every week. Well, since we aren't going every week, she's like, "Well, I need this, so I'll just go ahead and order it." Shop therapy.
It's like make a list. I've been fooling around in the kitchen with new recipes and stuff.
Yeah,
because I like to cook. I have no one to cook for, so it's not one. During the weekends I'll do I'll experiment with something. This week was Asian 5-spice millionaire bacon.
Oh, interesting.
I've never made that before. I didn't do a very good job. It tastes wonderful.
Oh, okay.
I need to tweak the recipe.
And I wonder why you are burping in my ear the minute we start talking.
It's the Gatorade.
Oh, my. Well, I'm glad that it really doesn't sound like you've had too bad of a week then. I mean, I'm worried about the homeless.
It was just an ass.
Wall brought up, I'm worried about the homeless veterans. When everything goes back to normal, what's going to happen to them? Here's the deal, and I'm going to say this. I don't know if it's good or bad. I'm kind of disgusted with it. A lot of states that have homeless problems, or I should say a lot of cities that have homeless problems that fall under the Democratic or progressive governors, the governors have turned to going to FEMA and getting FEMA to pay for homeless housing, so that because they say they need to get these people off the streets so that it doesn't spread. And they're trying. This is a bill that was actually they tried to get passed in Congress. This is something you don't hear a lot about. They tried to get it passed to where it would not be a temporary thing, that FEMA would just go ahead and start paying for all homeless shelters.
Those are federal dollars, not state dollars.
I agree. And it disgusts me. I understand some of it, but it comes down to the reasoning behind the homelessness in the first place falls upon the cities and the states that generate some of this. A lot of people sit there and say, well, homeless, they want to be homeless. Homeless are this, that, or the other thing. No, homeless in certain places, it falls down to the states and the city generate or precipitate the attitude of the drugs, or they generate the attitude of it's too expensive to live in, so therefore people who are lower to middle class can't even afford a house, and so they end up being homeless. And then cost of living, so even an apartment is out of their reach. So there's been a lot of back and forth about this. And someone's got to put it to the states, because what's going on now is some states that haven't got it already are trying to justify freezing rentals. In other words, making it so that you can no longer up your rent. Rent control. They're trying to make rent control a thing, and they've proven in places like New York and stuff that rent control doesn't work, and that it actually ends up causing slums. But the progressives the progressive side is pushing this now.
So what, you make everything Section 8? Basically.
That's basically what they're trying to do. Well, you know what Obama did when he sat there and said, okay, you can no longer make it so that Section 8 housing has to be in certain areas. We're going to, and he said the initiative is to push so that you have housing broken up to where Section 8 housing is in where homes are, so that it's not just in one specific area. And rich people didn't like it. Even middle income doesn't like it because it lowers their land value, and two, it brings in more physical traffic, meaning cars, stuff like that, and then you end up with the drug problems and everything else. And that was the whole idea, is that Obama said that, well, that way you have to deal with it. No, what ended up happening is people moved. And now they're trying to push rent control so that people who are in charge of these apartments and everything else can't charge what their land value, in other words, they have to pay taxes, they have to pay everything. Well, they're not going to be able to pay it. So they're either going to have to stop giving maintenance, so you're going to end up with slums, or they're just going to abandon. And that's what's going on right now.
The free market in these cases isn't prevailing.
No. And that's what happens a lot of time when you've got someone who's of socialistic mind, is they don't want the free market to prevail. They want people to bail on land because a lot of people say, well, okay, so that all of a sudden you've got this land that's been abandoned, what's going to happen? Well, you saw what happened. You go to New York, you go to the areas like that. They say they have these reclaiming projects, and they turn them into, these big companies come in, and these elites come in and they buy up the land and they make it into something other than housing. And they make it so there's less housing. And it's a really bad cycle. And this is what's starting to happen, and they're trying to use the COVID as part of this now.
Yeah, it kind of puts a couple of arrows in their quiver because they can make a case for it.
Yeah.
This isn't permanent.
And they're trying to make it permanent.
It'll pass, but all of these other rules and laws and whatever, not laws, a law hasn't been passed.
No.
These are all guidelines. But, people who are power hungry will try to get some legislation passed in either now or in the future.
And they've tried. I mean, look what they tried to do. They tried to give people on unemployment a raise. But instead of making it just temporary, they wanted to try to make it permanent. I read a story about a guy who said, okay, everybody, we're opening back up. And he couldn't get like 80% of his employees to come back because they were making more money on unemployment than they were working at their job. Yeah. They actually did manage to raise temporarily, not permanent like it was first put in, but they managed to get unemployment raised temporarily to help take care of the people who had better salaries.
Yeah, I think our maximum for unemployment here in the state of Texas is $480 a week. Which isn't a whole lot of money. Cost of living is a little bit high here.
But they tried very hard to get it so it was a permanent raise. They've tried all sorts of stuff during this time to try to justify it and say, well, we're doing it for our people, and if you don't do that, we're going to tell everybody that you don't care about them.
Yeah. Now that we're going back to work, and I can only speak to Texas. Yeah. But they're like, okay, everybody is going back to work now, and it's very apparent because everything's open. Yeah. And traffic sucks again. I'm very happy that traffic sucks again. But they're talking about now reinstating the restrictions of what unemployment insurance, because they had lifted some of the restrictions.
Yes,
they lifted the rules by saying that you have to actually be looking for gainful employment.
Yeah, they took that away for a little while, but now they said that now, as states go back, they now have to put those back in place, and that's just it. A lot of states are. That's the kind of the reason some of the governors are holding back, is because they are trying very hard to get people dependent on unemployment.
It's easy to do.
It's
easy to do. I've been unemployed before, but not unemployed so long that I started collecting an unemployment check. I filled out the paperwork and I was in the system, but then I found work, so I never got paid.
I've never had to, but I've been lucky, and I've known people that have, and it's not fun. But they're, and once you're on it, it is very hard to want to get off it without taking a hit. Because it does give you benefits and that you may not be able to get. You may not be able to get those benefits once you go back to work, because they give you medical, they give you dental, and all of a sudden you're going back to a place that, you're full time and it may be a little bit above minimum wage, but they don't offer you benefits. And they're trying very hard. Again, this is something that we have to watch out for. This election cycle is going to prove very, very hard, because there's a lot of issues that people are going to have to look at. How did their governors, how did their congressmen, how did their senators react during this?
And one thing because California, I think, was the first state to actually say, okay, we're going to do mail-in ballots for this next election cycle. I don't know if they said this is all we're going to do is mail-in ballots, or if it's going to be this is an option. If you want a mail-in ballot, then ask for one.
Washington State is that.
You don't need. Well, Washington State has always done that.
No,
California hasn't.
It has been doing it only for the last 5 to 7 years.
Right, but California hasn't. But now they're
That's
okay,
true.
We're going to go to the write-in or the mail-in ballot.
And the problem with that is how it's set up, and that's been another point of contention, is because they're trying to make it so that if you register Democrat, you're only going to get Democratic nominees on your ballot, rather than all of them. Because what if you're a Democrat but you want to vote for a Republican because you don't like with someone? They're trying to take that away by making it so you only get the parties that you register for.
Well, I think that might be wrong, but I don't know. It's a general election. You should have everything.
I agree, but certain states, like even Washington, they tried to pass that one. California, they've tried to pass it. And it becomes is that taking away liberties? And that's gone. It goes up into the higher courts and gets shot down every time, but they keep trying. And again, this is something that's going on during these times. They're trying to put stuff over that you're not going to catch.
What I was saying is that now that California has actually come out and said we want to do just mail-in ballots, I'm not sure exactly what they were talking about, if they just want to do mail-in ballots or if they want to add that as an option for everybody, or actually lean on that a little heavier than in-person voting. And I'm all of, if you can stand in line at Home Depot or Walmart or Lowe's, you can stand in line to vote.
And I agree with you.
If that line goes around the building 3 freaking times, then the line goes around the building 3 freaking times. And that's my contention is, I don't care how long that line is on election day, I'm going to vote in person.
Yeah. And to me, the paper ballot thing, here in Washington State, you're allowed to go ahead and go do a physical voting if you have a reason. In other words, if you didn't get a ballot or whatever. But otherwise, you have to fill it. You have to do it by mail.
Anybody in any state has the right to an absentee ballot. If you don't want to go and stand in line to vote, request an absentee ballot. They'll mail it to you. You fill it out. You have to mail it back by a certain date.
Yep.
And that's it. You don't need a special government program for this.
No. And unfortunately,
that's the way they should be pushing it. If you don't want to vote in person, here's your options. You can vote in person, or you can vote by absentee ballot, and this is how that's done.
Yeah. Well, it's the Democrats playing on the whole, social distancing. You're going to catch something if you get in line, even though in November it's going to come back, so you better be ready for it. That's what they're playing on, is everybody. And that's the sad part, is they're doing it for specific reasons. It's much easier to control the vote if you know that people are voting early. You can control the narrative. And
I don't know about any other state. We do have early voting for like 2 weeks before Election Day.
Yes.
The polls open. You can go vote Monday through Saturday from like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning until 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And Election Day is, they'll shut down a couple of days before Election Day, a week before Election Day, and then Election Day they're open from 7 or 8 until the last person votes.
And
so there's plenty of time to cast your ballot.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with that. I think that's actually a good thing. Well, my friend, we are actually at the top of the hour.
It's time for mushroom and chicken pot pies.
It is time for Mr. Koz to eat.
He shower bed, man. That's my Sunday evening routine.
So everybody, we're at that point where we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, 10 minutes or less. Go stand up, walk around, do some stretching, grab some popcorn, go to the bathroom, do what you ever got to do, as we used to say in the military, smoke them if you got them.
Hey, do you have a teaser for the next hour? What kind of stuff you got?
I'm going to be talking about how interesting it can be when everything has to be ordered. What else could end up getting ordered? Drugs? Can it show up with your pizza order?
You want a pepperoni pizza, extra cheese, and an 8-ball of cocaine.
Exactly. And then you're also looking at, have you ever thought about talking to eels? Japan has.
But I'm not Japanese.
And a free roaming horse in Germany is actually cheering up the local people on the subway.
That's badass.
And the virus hangover for French brewers, they actually ended up dumping 10 million liters of beer.
That is sacrilege.
Isn't it? So that's what we have coming. Come on, make sure to stay tuned. We're going to have some fun and have some jokes and a good smile or two. All right, everybody, I'm going to let you take your break. I'm going to let Mr. Koz go so he can go have his dinner.
All right, don't go anywhere, everybody. Just stay there.
All right, everybody, shots.
Before coffee on a Tuesday, it's already been a bad week. My girls had a couple flats, and my dishwasher sprung a leak. From the kitchen, her complaining, it just ain't cute anymore. I get the itch and start drifting towards the great outdoors. I smell the honeysuckle blooms, I can see the red buds too. In my garage, I got rods up on the wall. I got a John boat in the yard under a faded camo tarp. I need a reset to my spot, I hear the call. Just gone fishing, let her know that I ain't gone. Junk mail don't come out there, my phone won't ring. The only thing I want to hear is my reel with a big one on the string. That large mouth don't talk at all, and my weight just sinks away. Set him free, bring him home, the one decision I gotta make. I smell the honeysuckle blooms, I can see the red buds too. In my garage, I got rods up on the wall. I got a John boat in the yard under a faded camo tarp. And need a reset to my spot. I hear the call. Just gone fishing. Let her know that I ain't gone. I got my tackle box in the front seat and my best friend in the bed. Don't come looking for me, 'cause I ain't coming home till long after that sunset. I smell the honeysuckle blooms, I can see the red buds too. I got the rods in my garage down on the wall. Threw my John boat in the truck, filled my Camel cooler up. I hit the reset, hit my spot, and heeded that call. I just gone fishing, let her know that I ain't gone. No, I ain't gone missing, I've just gone fishing. Let her know that I ain't gone.
Spent my life in the mountains of East Tennessee. Days on the farm, it just comes naturally. Daylight to dark is not for the typical man. Just a backwoods country boy, proud of who I am. Proud of who I am. Proud of who I am. Well, this is my rifle, this is my gun. Let's get 'em, boys, come on and get you some. Let's get you some. And I'll fire all my rounds downrange till the enemy hits the sand. Yes, sir, I knew exactly what I was doing when I swore to Uncle Sam. If you don't like the way I'm living, just remember that it's for you. I'm a redneck camel wearing son of a gun for the red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. Pack my bags, headed out to the big sandbox. Just some good old boys and me, some medicine night. Well, the price of freedom, son, it don't come free. I guess that's why the good Lord chose me. This here's my rifle, this here's my gun. Let's get 'em, boys, come on and get you some. Let's get you some. And I'll fire all my rounds downrange till the enemy hits the sand. Yes, sir, I knew exactly what I was doing when I swore to Uncle Sam. If you don't like the way I'm living, just remember that it's for you. I'm a redneck camel wearing son of a gun. I'm a redneck camel wearing son of a gun for the red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. We do it for you, 'cause that's what we do.
WTF Nation Radio.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
I wonder what's inside your butthole. I wonder what's inside your butthole. Maybe there's astronauts and maybe there's aliens all inside your butthole. What's inside your butthole? I always want to know. What's inside your butthole? I always want to know. What's inside your butthole?
So, the question is, what's inside of your butthole? Okay, we are back for our second hour. Today is Mother's Day. Did you call your mother? Did you tell her you love her? It is that time that she deserves to know. It is time to kick it up, have a little bit of fun, and get into some stories that are just plain silly, ridiculous, stupid. Hey, it's all good and it's all part of what we do. All right, everybody. So anyway, I hope everybody has had a good week. I know I have. My week has actually gone pretty good. My wife and I are planning to move forward. You know, she's going to be home for a little bit extra longer, and that's fine. We're starting to plan what happens when she goes back to work. How is she going to approach it? How is she going to take some of the stuff that she's been doing here and do it there? And that's the things that we need to start thinking about. Those of you that are 100% or staying home because you're disabled, you know, I always tell people there's no reason you should be sitting around. You should be doing something, even if it's just moving your arms. And even though it is sunny out even though it is sunny out at this point in time, does not mean that you're out getting sun. So maybe you need to remember vitamin D, very smart thing to do, and some exercise. Help you all out a lot. You'd be surprised, my friends. All right, let's get back to it. As always, I have some fun stories, as we did a little bit of a reminder of that. Here we go. I want to get to some starting ones just because, well, they really are. Tells you how much our interesting side of society, the thieves, the robbers, those who do drugs, how they still manage to work around our COVID. 2 pizzas and some marijuana, please. Interpol warns of lockdown drug deliveries. In Paris, criminal gangs are using fast food couriers to deliver recreational drugs to people confined at home because of COVID lockdowns. Cocaine, marijuana, and ketamine and ecstasy are among the drugs being moved in pizza boxes or other takeaway containers in countries including Ireland, Malaysia, Spain, Britain, Interpol said. The agency issued a purple notice to warn its 194 member agencies of this new modus operandi, including couriers using bikes, motorcycles, and cars. With drug buyers and their dealers under lockdown along with the rest of society in many countries, some drivers are using this time to make a quick buck, while in some cases dealers simply posed as couriers. Now I want you, this is something we don't talk about. Well, hold it here. In one Malaysia case, a food delivery rider in the Gombak district of Kuala Lumpur contacted police and asked for his food package to be inspected after he became suspicious. The rider had been tasked with delivering a single order of Indian fresh flatbread, yet the parcel weighed approximately 20 pounds. Yeah, that is kind of suspicious. In Spain, 7 people posing as delivery drivers were arrested in Alicante and Valencia after drugs were found concealed in the false bottoms of home delivery backpacks. In Ireland, police found 8 kilograms of cocaine and 2 handguns hidden in pizza boxes. Country-wide lockdowns have simply increased demand for home-delivered food, and delivery drivers are a common sight on otherwise deserted streets. Now, this is kind of interesting. We don't talk about, Mamma Mia, right, Joseph? We don't talk about how bad other countries have it. Okay, here, we're still allowed to get out and do things, and yeah, there's shutdowns and so on and so forth. But in other countries, they're really locked down. As in, they get fines. They get, they actually get fined for just going out and doing something like last week, walking a turtle. Okay, they were going on a walk. They can't even go on a walk. They get fined for just going on a walk. Can you imagine that? Okay. So what do our the illustrious drug dealers over in different countries do? They get it a workaround. People are allowed to have food delivered. So, hey, right? Common Boss said in Mixer, how come Domino's doesn't have those on their menu? Exactly. I mean, this is something that I guess it could have been foreseen. Drug addicts are not going to give up their drugs. They don't want to go through the withdrawals. They're confined to a small space. They're being told if they leave, they're going to get ticketed. The dealers don't want to get caught because they're an easy target because there's nothing supposed to be on the road except for delivery. So that's the interesting part about this. Is it smart? Well, it is an intelligent workaround. I mean, I guess you have to look at who's allowing it. Some places may just sit there and say, if I were them, I'd go get a Subway sign, stick it on the top of their car, and try to pilfer or come up with something that looks like a Subway delivery thing, and then then deliver. Look like you're delivering. But they go as far as actually employing or going to owners of restaurants and places that deliver and saying, we want this as, you have to wonder, are they leaning on these people to actually make it part of their delivery? How far will a thief go? And how far will a drug dealer go? That's sad. Now, I talked about this before break. Japan aquarium seeks video chats for eels. Now, you wouldn't think about this, and this is actually very interesting. Japanese aquarium closed during the COVID outbreak is asking people to make video calls to these eels so the sensitive creatures remember humans exist and don't pose a threat. And I'll give you the summary of the article because I really read this through. It kind of caught my attention. But you don't think about this. A lot of animals, not just sea animals, this is just one example, but even zoo animals, they get to where they get used to your existence. They don't get anxious. They don't hide. This is a part of their adaptation. They adapt. But if you take away those crowds for a couple of weeks, what does that do? Well, they're finding that that the animals are starting to even hide from their caretakers. So they're going back into that whole they don't trust humans. And so they're actually starting to set up websites to where you can video chat and make your face or your body be seen by these animals so that they and hear that noise so that they can actually keep used to our presence in the zoos and aquariums. Now, I would not have thought about this, but apparently, it's become more and more noticeable as the shutdowns have gone on that the caretakers for these animals have all of a sudden seen their animals hiding from them, like they were new to it again. And they're talking about eels because they said eels especially will hide in the bottom of the aquarium, and it takes them a while to get used to seeing people again, so they don't hide. Well, if it's an eel aquarium and you're looking for the eels and you can't see them, well then what's the good part about that? Exactly, Wall. They'll go back to instinct. So that's what they're now trying to do. So if you want to entertain yourself, go look for some of these websites and video chat with the animals. I think that would be interesting. You have to wonder, and you have to think about stuff like that. Have you actually thought, these animals are used to us, and now all of a sudden they aren't? What's going to happen when those gates open up again? Free-roaming horse Jenny cheers up German lockdown. In Frankfurt, every morning, white mare Jenny leaves her stable to stroll through her Frankfurt neighborhood, bringing trams to a halt and smiles to people's faces. The free-roaming horse is brightening up the COVID lockdown for many. Everyone else... Ooh, shoot, I forgot to put up the picture. It is actually kind of cute. Give me a second. There we go. Everyone else has to live with COVID restrictions, but Jenny is as free as ever. Her owner, Anne Weikendahl, 65, told the newspaper. She explores the high street, trots along the tram line to a nearby field, and spends hours nibbling on patches of grass. The beloved Arabian mare, already a venerable 25 years old, has always been a hit with residents, but never more so than in recent weeks. People seem to notice her more because they have more time. A lot of passengers by stroke her, maybe because they are missing some human contact. That's an interesting thought, huh? Though it has slowly started easing some lockdown measures, people are encouraged to limit their social interactions and keep their distance. But there are no rules against snuggling with Jenny. It makes us so happy to see Jenny, who we miss her when we don't pass her on our walks, says Gabi Maxon, 61, holding 2 dogs on a leash. Johanna, 8, who was also out walking a dog. My brother and I like to pet her. To avoid misunderstandings, since people have in the past called the police to report an unaccompanied horse, Jenny wears a note around her neck that reads, "I haven't run away, I'm just out for a walk." The daily ramble ends at around 4 p.m. when Anna's 80-year-old husband, Werner, jumps on his e-scooter to find Jenny along her usual route and tell her it's home time. And then she slowly heads back, Werner, a retired flower shop owner. Very patient. In all her years of ambling, Jenny has never caused trouble, and local authorities have embraced their equine celebrity, the couple said. She's a very patient horse. It takes a lot to stress her out. That is cute. You know, if you think about it, and I guess sometimes we don't think about it. If you're home alone and you really don't have an animal, what are you supposed to do? I mean, that is actually kind of cool that a horse just wanders along and allows people to pet her as she's going to her favorite field to eat some grass. And you can actually see in that picture where there is an actual note hanging around a collar. That's cute. And the fact that they allow that and they don't give these people grief is just, that to me tells of how things are going right now. I don't know about you. I have been on the streets since COVID has happened, and I actually have noticed more things. I mean, you don't have so much traffic, so you can actually look around and see things and people and things that you hadn't noticed before. Lord help, when my wife's driving, I actually see even more. I mean, I'm like, wow, was that there before? But to sit there and think, in fact, what was it? Either yesterday or Friday, we had I don't know what you call them, a gaggle or something of like 10 or 15 turkeys wander through our neighborhood. Funniest thing to see. They're just walking along, and everybody's stuck inside. So you see people popping out of their houses to take pictures, but there's no cars, so they're walking. They're having a good old time. Like I said, animals are starting to reclaim. When we start gearing up the traffic, what is going to happen? You have a spot, you sit for lunch, and I have a buddy seagull. It just to sit down. It's really nice, and that's just it. More and more, when there's less crowds of people, animals are willing to be a little bit more aggressive. One, because either they want your food, or they are more curious as to why there's not as many people, so they can be a little bit more curious and not be overstimulated. It's kind of interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how things happen when more people come out of their home. I think, anyway. Virus hangover for French brewers as they dump 10 million liters of beer. In Paris, France will discard 10 million liters of beer, 4 Olympic-sized swimming pools full, due to expired, undrunk, with consumers in COVID lockdown, the National Brewers Association said Wednesday. Koz. Most of the wasted brew is craft beer, which is often unpasteurized, unlike traditional blonde lagers, and quicker to spoil, said France brewers. These are very hoppy beers, and if they are kept for too long, when they spend more than 2 to 3 months in storage, the olfactory and taste effects, the aroma disappears, the Brewers Association said. Joshua says, beer go bye-bye. And Wall says, that's a crime. Yeah, I agree. That is sad. That is really sad. And you have to wonder, what reason didn't some of these places get together with some of the delivery places and say, okay, we'll offer beer delivery, or we'll offer beer with the food. Although then I guess they have to apply for a liquor license. But I don't know. I mean, maybe it would have been worth it. The body blamed for the closure of cafes and restaurants, an abrupt halt to tourism, and the cancellation of festivals and expos under France's strict epidemic lockdown for leaving more than 10 million liters of beer unconsumed, most still in casks. That is sad. The number was compiled from the association's 300-odd members, which represent 98% of beer production in France. It represents but a drop of an estimated 22.5 million hectoliters of beer the country is set to produce in 2020, but nevertheless comes at a loss of millions of euros to producers. Wow. The country, best known for its wine, has seen beer sales soar in recent years, spurred by an increase in craft brewing. Down the drain. The destruction of this beer will have come at a significant cost for businesses. We are a very indebted sector since we invested 241 million euros, which equals $260 million, in development in 2019, a significant figure for a turnover of just over 4 billion euros. Happy Mother's Day to Mom, our WTF mom. Thank you very much, David. After a quarter of French brewers are out of action under the country's virus-busting confinement measures, with home consumption failing to make up for sales lost with France's vital hospitality industry at a near standstill. About 70% of brewers have reported losing half their turnover or more since mid-March. France is to start emerging from 2 months of lockdown, but in place to limit the spread of the COVID next Monday. But many people will continue working from home, and cafes and restaurants, an essential part of the French social fabric, will remain shut at first. After a quarter of French brewers have benefited from a solitary fund set up to help companies in grips of the worst economic crisis in decades. Wow. You know, this is the type of thing that people aren't considering. And this is the reason you've heard me say, and Koz say, we need to open up smartly, but we need to open up. We need to just let it go and say, if you are someone who's at risk, be honest with yourself. Stay home or restrict yourself. But it is destroying companies. It is destroying the small businesses, the startups, the type of businesses that rely on socialization, the companies that rely on tourism. It's sad. I mean, that's a lot of beer, a lot of crafted beer down the drain. I mean, I'm just sitting there going, man. You have to wonder if they couldn't have put in place maybe an emergency permits for some of the delivery companies so they could deliver beer, just so that some of these companies wouldn't have ran into problems. I mean, that's horrible. It really is horrible. That is a lot of beer and a lot of income lost. 5-year-old pulled over in U.S. while driving to California. Said, "You're the best, Mom, great." David, he's having fun. Anyway, and you're right, Wall. Destroying families with those small businesses. And it does destroy small families. A 5-year-old was in L.A. A police officer in the western U.S. state of Utah, was stunned after stopping what he thought was an impaired driver on a highway, only to find a 5-year-old behind the wheel. The Utah Highway Patrol said the boy told the trooper who pulled him over on Monday that he had left home following an argument with his mother, who refused to buy him a Lamborghini. Okay. He decided he'd take the car and go to California to buy one himself. He might have been short on the purchase amount, as he only had $3. No, they blocked out his picture, Camo. At a certain age, children's pictures are not allowed to be put or published without consent of the parent. In a dash cam video of the incident released by the department, the SUV the boy was driving, it seems, weaving across the freeway as other vehicles and trucks speed by. The car then pulls over to the left side of the highway after Troop Rick Morgan activates his sirens. As Trooper Morgan approached the driver's side of the vehicle on foot, he noted that it was strange that he could not see the head of the driver from the rear window. Morgan, in the video, is heard asking the boy for his age. "You're 5 years old," he explains. "Wow, where did you learn how to drive a car?" Police said the boy, who was not identified, had managed to drive about 2 to 3 miles from his home before he was stopped and his parents contacted. The family reported that the boy's older siblings were watching him that morning. The sibling fell asleep and the boy took the keys to the SUV off a hook in their home. Fortunately, no one was hurt and no property was found damaged during his short outing. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto in real life, right? You know, this is one of those kids not willing to accept no from their parents. I'd be talking to that parent. He wanted a Lamborghini. Yeah, who doesn't? Okay. No. Kids, I'm not going to get onto that subject. Come on. If the parent had talked to the kid at all when he's driving, saying, "Look at these people, how they're driving and how they could kill someone." Just simple comments like that would have made the kid possibly think twice before doing such a thing. If you think about it. My opinion. Oh, some people's children. Get this. TikTok user says he unknowingly recorded possible home intruder while dancing home alone. This is actually kind of weird. This guy was home alone, right? A post on TikTok showing a man dancing has gone viral, but probably not for the reason the original poster had hoped. Instead of impressing the internet with some funky dance moves, he instead ended up scaring many of his followers. TikTok user Rubik's Cube posted the video of himself dancing while he said he was home alone. This apparently left viewers shocked when something briefly appeared in the background. Some commenters described it as looking like someone poking their head around the corner. This is a trip. This is the actual part of the picture of what went viral. The original video had racked up 1.7 million viewers, while a follow-up video of Rue, as he signed his post, reacted to the footage, had 6.2 million views. While many of the comments speculated of what the video actually showed, some users suggested the creepy looking footage was staged. As one user wrote, "Obviously this is planned." The caption said, "I was home alone. He wanted us to know." In one of the several follow-up videos, Roy claimed he's been having trouble sleeping since he recorded the footage has not been calm. He also claimed he wasn't sure if the footage showed a person on the stairs, or he said his stairs were very loud and likely would have heard someone walking down them. See, this is kind of creepy, and if you think about it, it's kind of weird too. Could you imagine you're sitting there doing something and all of a sudden something shows up behind you? How many people in their comments would sit there going, "Yo, dude, look behind you"? I mean, I watched kids drive for 5 fucking... Oh, okay. You know, I don't know whether to believe if it was staged or not. But, wow, can you imagine if it wasn't staged? I mean, just the thought. And that is part of social media these days. You become so focused on what you're doing that you don't open yourself up to your surroundings. I mean, come on, guys. I may not have PTSD anymore, but I do still feel certain things. Like I do feel adjustments if someone opens the door, even if I don't hear it. I feel the air pressure change. I tune in immediately for specific telltales of who just walked through my door. I can't imagine having someone open the door and me not knowing it. That's what social media actually will do to you, is you become so focused on your social media, you forget to be cognizant of the rest of your surroundings. Kind of eerie, if you think about it. Yeah, exactly. Well, you can feel someone looking at you. And if I would have been in that room, I would have immediately been going, huh? Because even when I do stuff like this, I am aware. Right now there's a cat. She's not here right now. I have a cat that is wandering the house. It's her 2 hours out of her room. And she'll come in here and immediately I'll know when she's in this room. And it's not like she's noisy. She's very quiet. But I'll feel that air change. And to not feel that, man, I can't imagine. I can't imagine. That had to have, if that was real, that had to have freaked that person out. Now, we've all heard of free stuff, and, well, this person kind of took it to an extreme. An Oregon man drove to 11 different restaurants twice in one day to stock up on free chicken nuggets. There's more than one way to get free nuggets. Wendy's recently announced it would be giving away free chicken nuggets on a certain date to help out communities during the COVID pandemic. One man in Oregon apparently heard about the promotion and decided to make the most of it. Wendy's announced that participating restaurants across the country would be giving away orders of 4-piece chicken nuggets to anyone visiting the restaurant through this past Friday. The company explained that the promotion, called Group Nug, was inspired by the chain's team members and restaurants crews who have been going above and beyond to help out the communities. There was a limit of 1 pack of free nuggets per customer, but that wasn't going to stop a Twitter user going by the name of Squeezy Jibs. In order to get past the nugget limit, he drove to 11 different restaurants in the greater Portland and Vancouver area. In order to make the most of his trip, he reportedly drove the route twice, doubling his score. Jeez. He shared a picture of his nuggets, which he captured. Times is tough, so I heard Wendy's was giving out free 4 nugs today. I knew I had to hustle. I hit every damn Wendy's twice within 17 miles across 2 states. It took 5 hours, but now we're eating free for a week. Wendy's also had been sharing news of its exceptional team members to Square Deal blog, which has been documenting instances of Wendy's franchises providing free meals to frontline workers, first responders, and people in need. You know, I get that some people are hurting. I do. But taking advantage, you have to ask, did he actually take it from someone else's mouth? You know, Kamo, that is a question. Did he spend more on the gas than he would have on the nuggets? That's a good question. David, have you ever been high, bro? You know, really? You had to ask that question? Oh, boy. Now, we all know social distancing has been pretty harsh over in other countries. And they've gotten to the point, and I mean, You take a place like India, they have a really high population and population density on top of it. So they came up, first responders, what are they supposed to do, right? Well, authorities in India have debuted a unique device meant to detain those who are not cooperating with a COVID-19 lockdown while maintaining social distancing. The police department in the northern Indian city of Chakadarish shared a video Saturday on Twitter of a drill using the apparatus. VIP security wing of Chadarish police had devised this unique way of tackling non-cooperative corona suspects and curfew breakers. One of the officers extended a lengthy, hand-operated metal trapper device and locks it around the body of the man. The officer then guides him to the back of the truck. The device appears to resemble a claw-like grabber that many use to pick up trash. Reaction to the video poured on social media, which some praising police while others argued the device dehumanizes people. Yada, yada, yada. Okay. I personally think, okay, one, you have to get the person to stand still long enough. So I guess what they're saying is when the person is still, rather than trying to get handcuffs on them, they put this on them. I think, because trying to catch someone in a run using this, I don't see as being realistic. So I would think this is more about once you've stopped someone, boom, you've got them, and then you can take them, and you don't have to get close putting handcuffs on them, which to me makes sense. Is it dehumanizing? In places like India where they're having issues with the spread, I can understand it because they've got to keep their numbers up as far as their first responders. It's hard to keep the first responders from catching stuff when you have to be in close quarters. I think it's a good. I think it's a good idea. I think it's actually very smart. So, I don't know. Now, here's something. It's sad, but it's funny. Just because, well, it kind of tells you the mentality of some people. A hiker celebrating end of the coronavirus lockdown falls to her death while posing for a photo. No joke, people. Maybe it's your own little warning here. A Kazakhstan woman fell more than 110 feet to her death last weekend after posing for a cliffside photo to celebrate the end of the area's coronavirus lockdown. Alicia Suspentina, 31, was out hiking with her friend in Dudin Park, located in Antalya, Turkey, following weeks of a shelter-in-place order in the city. Sustamnia climbed over a safety fence in the park. See, there you go. Climbed over a safety fence in the park and posed for an image on the edge of a cliff in front of its scenic waterfalls before slipping on some grass and plummeting roughly 115 feet. Her horrified companion called emergency services, who pulled Suspamnia's lifeless body out of the water and took it to the morgue at Atnia Forensic Medicine Institute for an autopsy. Alicia was a smart and cheerful person. She set goals and made them happen. All right, everybody. What does this really tell you? And let's be Captain Obvious here. When the lockdown is pulled away, don't go and climb over safety fences just to get that photo. I feel bad. I'm sad for her. I really do. That is sad, especially someone young who had a lot to look forward to. But at the same time, it's a lesson. Okay, you're happy. Okay, the lockdown's done. Don't do something stupid, royally stupid, like climbing over a safety fence. Safety fence is there for your protection. Wall, don't be stupid. Sit and eat more crayons. Wall, naughty, naughty on you. But, I mean, you think about it. I mean, I've gone into national parks. I've gone into state parks, and they have safety fences. I've seen people cross those fences. And yeah, some, they don't get hurt at all. I have actually watched people hurt themselves. And you just sit there going, that's why the fence is there, people. They're trying to make sure you don't get hurt. You have to shake your head and go, you know, that's a waste. It really is sad. Gosh. Some people's children. Some people's children. Now here is a challenge gone viral that I am not behind. People are purposely wetting themselves and filming it for gross viral challenge. TikTok users are taking part in a pee your pants challenge, where they stand in front of a mirror and wet themselves after one man said he began the trend as a parody. Sure you did. Social media users are standing in front of a mirror and wetting themselves while capturing it on camera as part of a pee your pants challenge, and we're just about done with 2020. Ew. His first video appeared on TikTok when Liam Wire filmed himself saying "Pee your pants challenge" before appearing to wet himself as a gray patch appears on his shorts and there's a disturbing sound of liquid hitting the floor. Liam said he was surprised the trend has caught on, as others on the video sharing platforms post clips using the hashtag showing it their own efforts. Means there is now a string of videos showing people, mainly men, saying "Pee your pants challenge" in front of the mirror, and you guessed it, peeing their pants. Yeah, right. Well, why don't they stick with the Tide Pods? The Tide Pods. I mean, jeez. The original clip was removed by TikTok, but Liam's reposted version has had just under 300,000 views, with others blaming the coronavirus lockdown for causing social media content to truly hit rock bottom. One commented, "People seriously need to get back to work soon. Everyone has gone insane." You know, I think I have to agree with this. At this point, people have too much time on their hands. The fact that you could find entertainment in peeing yourself. Oh my God. Things have gotten bad. Oh yeah. I don't get it. I don't want it. I don't want to think about it. So we'll go on to another story. We have a Florida man story. Florida man arrested after asking deputies for booze and ice cream. Since the man wasn't in distress or in need of medical attention, deputies placed him under arrest for misuse of 911. A Punta Gorda man called 911 multiple times and asked deputies to deliver him ice cream and liquor, according to Charlotte County deputies. Last Saturday, deputies responded to a Punta Gorda apartment after Michael James Gables, 65, called 911 to report an emergency. When deputies arrived at Gables' apartment, he asked them to take a $20 bill that was on the porch and returned to his place with some liquor. Deputies told Gables that needing a liquor delivery wasn't an emergency, and if he called again, that he would be charged with misuse of 911. The next day, Gables made another emergency call to 911 operators who dispatched deputies to his apartment, according to the sheriff's office. This time, Gables asked the deputies to take his ice cream out of the freezer since he wasn't able to get out of his recliner. Since Gables wasn't in distress or in need of medical attention, deputies placed him under arrest for misuse of 911. Really? I don't understand. I don't want to understand some people's children who grew up and didn't learn. It is sad. The coronavirus has brought out the best and the worst. I think this one we consider the worst. The fact that he couldn't get out of his recliner and be bothered to go get his own ice cream. Tell you what. Yeah, he deserves to go to jail. He really does. That is misuse. That's taking the police away from other actions that could have been emergency. All right, what is my wisdom for the week? We are getting to that time of the hour. My wisdom of the week is, I know the coronavirus has caused chaos in our lives. We have the ability to decide how we come out of it, better or worse. My thoughts are, what's stopping you from coming out of it better? Joshua, anyone up for whiskey flavored ice cream? Love you, man. We've got decisions to make. People are going to become anxious because they've been locked in for time. Believe it or not, even though they're going to want to go to work, they're going to be anxious because they're going to be overstimulated by things they had gotten used to. So if you're a supervisor, keep that in mind. If you're just someone doing something, buying something, keep that in mind about other people around you. People are going to be anxious. Even if they're allowed to be out, that doesn't mean they aren't still have in the back of their head, what if? Keep that in mind for yourself, so you understand and can keep from triggering other people to where they could do harm or become chaotic and cause you or others harm. It's just my thought. But things are opening up, and I think we need to consider it. The week is this week many places are looking at opening. Try to be positive if you can. It's just one moment in time, and it is passing. The light is at the end of the tunnel. You will get there now. All right, everybody. We have guests. This Tuesday, we have Quentin Hardy. Air Force veteran and comedian Quentin Hardy will be telling us how he ended up on a stand-up comedian, as a stand-up comedian, after his Air Force career and what he has in the works for his future. And that is on Tuesday, this Tuesday, the 12th. On the 19th, another Tuesday, Stephanie Klein, Marine Corps veteran Stephanie Klein is a DC-based stand-up comic, writer, producer, and a contributor for Duffel Blog. ends after leaving the Marine Corps and then dealing with the end of her marriage, Stephanie turned to comedy through a workshop with the Armed Forces Arts Partnership. That should be fun and worth a good smile. Tune in for that. I think you guys will enjoy it. All right, everybody. We have shows. We have the Monday night edition with Ice and Flash. We have Tuesday Pop Culture Wear with CQ and Radar. And then we have Wednesdays, which is our Danza and Meditation Day. And then we have Thursday night with Sergeant's Time with Ice and Spanky. Then, of course, you have Sunday. You have Kicking It with Koz, which is Koz and Owl, which is me. All right, everybody. We're coming to the end of the show. I gave you my thought for the week, and I really think you remember. Other people are going to be anxious. You probably will be too. Keep that in mind. There's no reason to stress out other people, and if you need to, do something to help yourself. Recognize that you may get stressed out. Recognize that you may end up being anxious, and help yourself so that you don't become a problem to yourself or others. All right, everybody, you have a good week. Keep it simple. Keep it real. And remember to smile, because you just don't know who you're going to help, including yourself. And try to come out on the better side of this COVID virus with a positive attitude. All right, everybody, I love every one of you. You take care. Thank you for showing up, and we will see you next Sunday, same bat time and same bat place. Take care, everybody.
Every morning seems just the same old routine. Blowing trees, writing these bars, line after line, mining for a diamond, but a dime is what I find. Hiding from the truth by simply coasting through these hard times with green, even though I'm feeling blue. But I gotta face the facts, girl, you know that it's true. And maybe what I'm supposed to do is not to get so close to you. But these days the only things that seem great are fading away, and the only time I feel home is when I'm alone or far away. But the road call says the wind blows, 10 missed calls on my flip phone, so it stays closed. Staring out my window while my mind slowly goes off into my headphones, hoping that the dough will be worth it for the show, but who knows?
Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up, we laugh like kids all day, and there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change. No, we're never gonna change.
Man, day after day is just the same old thing. Working class life, and yes, it surely will bring a food to the table and a roof when it rains. But for the most part, you're just doing the same thing, a part of a machine with a ball and a chain. You try to be happy, yet all you feel is pain. It's a shame to use your brain and know that some will never change. But if insanity's the game, then you can take my hand and play. Life has a rhythm that I ride to, and you can come along if you would like to. And I can show you what it's like to walk in my shoes, to learn how to love just like I do. Look me in the eye and you will find truth. I'm testifying to the lying in my mic booth. And you're hating on me cause I ain't like you, and I ain't like you.
Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up, we laugh like kids all day, and there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change. No, we're never gonna change. Yo, my life is like a movie that nobody's producing. I write the music but nobody is moving, cause don't nobody care and everyone's confused, and the characters change and never reaching a conclusion. And I don't know if I'll make it to the end, cause all I know is after we begin, the wind shifts us in many different directions, like the pen lifts up off the paper, disconnected from anything we can feel, hear and see. And the words that I write mean something more than just to me. It's amazing that we've all grown accustomed to change, cause we can rearrange a pattern that's always been ingrained. They want us to grow up and stop acting how we want, but if you tell me I can't do something, I'll make sure it gets done. Yeah, let's go and roll it up, blow it all away. No sense in growing up, we laugh like kids all day. And there's nothing you can say that will ever make us change. No, we're never gonna change.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.